I actually don't believe there is a woman in the world who doesn't watch that scene and say, even if your mother never said that directly to you, you understand that scene completely.
What would make a 36-year-old woman have an affair with a 7th grader?
People, they see me as a victim.
Since the film's beginning, we understand that the relationship between Gracie and Joe is based on a crime, And the movie constantly reminds us that she was 36 and he was 13 years old, but it's not literal, You keep telling us this with little details, like when Gracie says that a love letter written by Joe for her was a school assignment, that reminds us, and it's a little disturbing. So why did you decide not to be that literal with that, with the aspect of the crime that it's based this relationship?
If I understand the question, I think it was that, Sammy Birch's script did something very brilliant, which I found so stimulative in the ways we were just talking about, the tone of the film and how you read the film almost against itself as you watch it. And that happened when she set the crime 20 years in the past. And so really the story is about how people survive challenges and even a criminal exposure. How, yes, he was 13 when they met. She was 36 when they met. We are told that they fell in love as if that was some even relationship where they both had the same power. And of course they did not. And yet she served time in jail. She came home. He became of age. They married, they raised a family, they have 3 children. So they demonstrated in every conceivable way that however problematic that relationship was at the beginning, they maintained a commitment to it as adults. And that doesn't mean that we don't revisit choices we made in the past and then say, wait a minute, I don't think I was really fully aware of the world when I made that choice. And I have the right to change my mind, to rethink why I'm in this relationship and what it gives me. All these questions, which can happen whether you're in a crisis, in a tabloid story or not. They happen in real life with love and marriages and commitments that we make that over time, sometimes we have to question, So I loved how it was both exotic, this story, but also a story that reflected the way we all survive.
Sometimes during the film, I thought that Gracie felt she was a hero who fought against the world for true love. And then Elizabeth also felt like a real hero because she was trying to make an independent film about a woman who was the subject of media harassment. So do you think that maybe deep inside these characters, there is something redeemable about them?
Not in the way I think they think about themselves. I think really you're left feeling quite troubled by both female characters, and what gets revealed through the course of the story is this unexpected similarities in the 2 women, the sense that their willfulness and their desires determine everything in their lives, that basically they're driving their own ships, they're driving their own, and that the men around them yield to their needs. Now, I find this to be not typical of women in general in life, in society. I think women don't get to follow their desires to this degree. And so you're kind of in a backwards world here. And really the victim here and the person who's trapped and the person who's stuck is Joe. And so the hope and the redemption, of course, lies more with him and of course the kids, because you feel like the kids were never culpable, and they're going to be okay, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the question is, what's going to happen between Joe and Gracie, given all they've learned from this experience?
There is a very interesting scene in the movie, and it's when Gracie and Elizabeth are in a clothing store, and you can see Elizabeth right in the middle of Gracie and her reflection. And I think it's the perfect example of how the movie is full of reflections and mirrors and imitations, like Elizabeth mirroring Gracie, and Gracie creating a perfect image for the actress who is going to play her in an independent movie. You know, I think it's very interesting. It's amazing that you use that. But I would like to know how you conceive those representations of this duality in the story, because I think it's genius for the film and the story.
Thank you so much. It began with this interest in using the mirror as a motif throughout the film. There were scenes already in the script that were clearly about mirrors and about putting on makeup in mirrors, or Elizabeth looking at herself as she's looking at images of Gracie and trying to evoke Gracie physically. But as soon as I sort of decided, okay, let's use the lens of the camera as the actual reflection of the subject, how the stories that we tell ourselves are ways of hiding from ourselves, but they keep us going, and we keep surviving our lives and our conflicts and our ambivalence and our despair by returning to the stories that we tell about ourselves until those stories simply don't hold anymore. And that's what this film is about. But all of that seemed to get put on display for the viewer by using the mirrors. And of course, that scene in the dress shop further complicates it, because it's also about how femininity gets passed on from mother to daughter. How our images of how women are supposed to look and behave and, you know, present themselves get passed on as toxic.
Passive aggressive, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I actually don't believe there is a woman in the world who doesn't watch that scene and say, even if your mother never said that directly to you, you understand that scene completely. And I just love that about the concept, and then of course the way that all gets shown to you in a single shot, full of reflections, the most number of reflections of any in the movie, and then with the beautiful performance by the daughter, who plays Mary, is just, you know, completes a very complicated task for these actors.
Why can't we talk about it? If we're really as in love as we say we are,